On today's show, we give you a preview of this Saturday's matchup against the Georgia Bulldogs.
And Josh Nix drops by the set to give us his Nix picks.
So get on the edge of your seat and put on your rally cap because it's the bottom of the ninth and it starts right now. Welcome to the bottom of the ninth. I'm Alex Chaney.
And I'm Patrick Clay. For the next 15 minutes, we'll give you your LSU sports update and preview the weekend in LSU sports. Alex, this weekend, LSU football takes on its second-ranked opponent of the season, the 10th-ranked Georgia Bulldogs in Athens. How about that?
A lot of storylines going into this game. Chief among is Zach Mettenberger's return to Georgia. Mettenberger committed to Georgia in 2009 out of his high school in Watkinsville, Georgia. He redshirted his freshman year, while eventual Lions #1 draft pick Matthew Stafford led the Bulldogs to a Sugar Bowl victory over Hawaii. In the spring of 2010, the quarterback position at Georgia was an open competition between Mettenberger and Aaron Murray. Mettenberger wore the number 5, and Aaron Murray still wore his number 11. Recently, Georgia head coach Mark Richt commented on the competition between Murray and Met.
You know, it even started not so much the battle, but they knew they were going to compete against each other when they both committed to Georgia. And then no one flinched. You know, somebody could have said, hey, I'm out. They both signed with Georgia. And then they began to compete against each other. And it was fun to watch because it was very obvious to Coach Bobo and I that both those guys were going to be really good players. And we knew we were in pretty good shape as far as the quarterback position at Georgia.
Murray also commented on his competition and continuing friendship with Mettenberger.
It'll be interesting to see him on the other sideline out there in the field wearing an LSU uniform. We've all stayed in contact with him. Last night I roomed with Artie, and he was texting him back and forth. We were all, I was asking about how Auburn looks, and he was wishing us good luck. And so, all of us that own Class stay in touch with him still. So it'll be interesting. It's going to be fun. It's going to be a great game. I know we're excited to play it.
Mettenberger would never see live game action with the Bulldogs. Shortly after the spring game, Coach Richt released Mettenberger from the team after a sexual assault scandal in Athens. Mettenberger transferred to Butler Community College in Kansas and transferred to LSU. Pat, what type of effect do you think Mettenberger's homecoming to Georgia will have on Saturday's game?
Honestly, I think Zach is just ready for all of this to be over. You could see it in the media sessions all week. He is just so sick of talking about his return to Georgia. With all the hype that's surrounding it and with what happened to his mom, an employee in the Georgia office, the only thing I see happening is Met just wanting to play tougher to shut everyone up about it. He's had a great year thus far with a 10-to-1 touchdown to interception ratio, and I think he's going to try and make that, his performance, the story, and have his Tigers walk out with a victory. Now, will he feel differently coming out of the tunnel in the stadium he grew up attending? Yeah, probably. But once he hits the field, it's just another game.
Coming up, Josh Nix is here to give us the Week 4 edition of Nix Picks.
Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back. Welcome back to the show, and right now I'd like to invite our good friend Josh Nix onto the set to give us his Week 4 edition of Nix Picks. Josh, always great to have you.
Thanks for having me. It's looking forward to Week 4. Week 3 was pretty crazy, a bad week all around.
Yeah, not so great.
2-2 straight up, 1-3 against the spread, but we're going to rebound this week, no worries.
Hard to believe it's already Week 4.
I know, the season's going by like that. Before you know it, it'll be the playoffs.
Before you know it. But focusing on Week 4, starting things off, Josh, we have the Seahawks and the Texans, two solid defenses. What you got?
Seattle Seahawks so far have looked like the best team in football through 3 weeks as they head to Houston to take on the Houston Texans. Texans offense looked very shaky last week in Baltimore. Matt Shaw did not do well at all, threw an interception, 150 yards. Texans must get their act together against one of the top defenses in the league. I do think the Texans will pick it up a little bit. They do know the beast that's headed their way. They'll step up their game, but I don't think they'll have enough. The Seattle Seahawks are just talented. They don't have any holes. They got talent everywhere. I think defense is reigning in this game, but I think the Hawks will be all over Shaw. I like Seattle to cover 3-point spread and win 23-16 over Houston.
So you have the Seahawks going 4-0. It's crazy to think last year no one had this team being this good. They've just been a surprise, but now it's not a surprise.
Exactly. This team, they're loaded, talented everywhere. They've got mad pass rushers. Secondary is second to none. And they don't even have Percy Harvin. That's the crazy thing. I don't know how good they'd be with him.
Going to be scary when he gets back. Next up, we've got a big divisional matchup. Josh, tell us all about it.
Yes, we do. We have a battle for first place in the NFC North in Detroit as the Bears and Lions square off. The Lions' defense has been much improved so far this year. Their defensive line has been destructive, as most people thought they should be. And their secondary actually looks like they know what they're doing now. Meanwhile, Mark Trestman, first-year head coach, has Cutler and the Bears' offense taking some big strides from last year. Cutler looks a lot more mature this year and seems to be more in sync with the rest of his offense. Offensive line is better as well. Combine that with their defense, getting turnovers as usual. It's no surprise the Bears are 3-0. I think this is going to be a close game, but I think the Bears' defense will force a key turnover at the end. Stafford is prone to interceptions at times. I like the Bears as 3-point underdogs. I like them to win 30-24 over the line.
Speaking of the Bears turnovers, a good thing I had them on my fantasy last week. They got me some major points.
They had a big win, and the Steelers will help because their offense is terrible.
Pretty bad.
Right now. Yeah.
Well, Josh, how about some interconference action? Yes. What do you got for us?
Well, we have another 3-0 team playing this time on Sunday Night Football as the 3-0 Patriots take on the Atlanta Falcons at the Georgia Dome. Despite being undefeated, though, the Patriots have looked a little rattled, particularly in their first two games. Brady is lacking in experienced receivers to throw to. Running game isn't there. Last week, the Patriots dominated the Tampa Bay Bucs, despite being without Gronk again and other solid targets. Gronk is still questionable as he tries to recover from a back injury and a broken forearm from the offseason. The Falcons, however, have injury problems of their own, with Steven Jackson out until at least Week 7. Roddy White still struggling to get on the field. Yet the Pats defense will have their toughest test of the season. Atlanta still has a good offense, but I don't think it will be a high-scoring game because the offenses are missing some targets. And Matt Ryan, very good at home. I think the Patriots long-term might be the better team, but I like the Falcons in this game, 24-20 over over Atlanta.
You think the Falcons are going to get back to 500 in a tough NFC South?
Yes, they need to. The good thing for them, though, they do have an easier schedule coming up. They're going to need it because they'll have New Orleans again down the road. They already have to play catch-up with them, so we'll see how that turns out in the NFC South.
Speaking of the NFC South, and you mentioned the Saints, they're taking on the Dolphins this Monday. Why don't you tell us all about it?
Well, first of all, I would like to congratulate ESPN for finally picking a very good Monday Night Football game. Way to go, guys. You got two undefeateds going at it in New Orleans on Monday night. One of the big stories in the NFL this season has been the upstart Miami Dolphins. Not only are they 3-0, but they've beaten some very good teams. They gutted out back-to-back victories in Indy in Week 2 and last week winning late against the Atlanta Falcons. Tannehill looks much better so far in his second year in the league, and a big part of that is Mike Wallace. He spreads the field and opens up routes for possession receivers like Hartline. Tight end Charles Clay's having a great year. Their defense has also been making plays. They slowed down Atlanta's offense and made a key interception versus the Colts 2 weeks ago. Another big story, however, has been the complete 180 the Saints defense has made under Rob Ryan. Saints defense is looking a lot more like the 2009 defense that knew how to get key stops and force turnovers. This is a very exciting game, but in the end, I am not betting against the Saints in a primetime home game. Tannehill still a little young, even though he's making strides. I like the Saints to cover 6.5-point spread and win 27-19 over the Dolphins.
You haven't picked against the Saints this year. Why start now, right?
I haven't, exactly. And the Dolphins, they are a good team. I do think they're for real, but for this young team, that's going to be a wake-up call going into the Superdome on Monday Night Football.
And with some LSU news, we just heard that Terrell Pryor is unlikely to start this Saturday for Oakland, so Matt Flynn's time to step up.
Matt Flynn has the chance. He needs to get rid of the Alex Moran Act and actually try to get in on the field. But you know what, though? I don't know if he should because Oakland's just awful as usual this year. But you know what? If Matt Flynn can get on the field, I won't expect much because of that bad team. But I would like to see him on the field and see if he can do something.
He just needs a good offensive line. Well,
yes,
Josh, as always, thanks again for coming on the show. Tune in this weekend to see how he does. Always happy to have you.
Thanks for having me, Pat.
We'll be right back.
Welcome back to the Shaq-Toe. Whoa, that was weird.
What's Shaq-toning to you, man?
NBA All-Star and former LSU basketball player Shaquille O'Neal stopped by the Auburn football game last Shaq-ter-day.
The big Aristotle must have handled his Shaqsiness in Shaqton Rouge because recently his Shaqness bought a minority stake in the Sacramento Kings.
The Sacramento Kings?
Monday morning, but a rather large shadow still emerged over the Carter plantation in Springfield. Shaquille O'Neal made his return to Louisiana Friday for his annual Life Skills Golf Classic, a tradition that started in 2003. While O'Neal claims he's not a golfer, the tournament is something he looks forward to each fall.
Shaq helped raise the money for LSU, doing the right thing, helping with scholarships, and just I don't really call it giving back, just like coming back home and enjoying the lifestyle and watching football game. And just tradition continues.
The tournament raises money for the Shaquille O'Neal Life Skills program. The event drew nearly 250 golfers while collecting a minimum of $1,000 for each group's entry fee. The Shaquille O'Neal Life Skills program is a charity that prepares student athletes for life after college. As a former student athlete himself, O'Neal understands how important development in college can be. And with a big name and frame like his charity will continue to prosper.
It's a great thing. Everybody loves Shaq, and I love everybody. See you later.
Taylor Curette, Tiger TV Sports.
And of course, Love Shaq University. Can you take it?
Sure, of course. Well, that's all the time we have for our show today. Thanks for tuning in to the bottom of the ninth on Tiger TV Sports Showtime. You can watch the full highlights and full episodes online at tigertv.tv.
Don't forget to like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter for the latest news. We're here Campus Channel 75, Monday through Thursday from 6 to 6:15.
If you're traveling to Athens this weekend for the game, please drive safely. For Patrick Clay, I'm Alex Cheney. Thank you for watching the bottom of the ninth, and you stay classy, Baton Rouge.